Welcome back to my channel Conquer the Fear. In this video, we are going to discuss about the real interview question asked in one of the interview. So the person attended clairvoyant interview. So he was asked a program to write. After asking all the general questions, he was asked to write a program. Now this is generally a format in all the interviews right now. So if you go to any interviews right away, you will see like in the structure of Java interview, it starts with the basics, and then it was going like it will be asked to write a Java program, whether he to understand whether he has an hands-on experience or not. You are a junior developer, mid-level, or an experience. This video will be very useful because this is one of the most frequently asked interview questions in any Java, Spring Boot, microservice interview. Now 90% of the developer would get confused because here the program is just not to write it. Here we have to write it in a very CPU optimized and memory optimized. So make sure you doesn't make use of the too much of these collections or any other unused code. So the input was he will give you an array, and then you have to sort it in the reverse order. Not sort, but you have to reverse it. So in that case, you have to the way it is written right now, it has to be completely written in the reverse order. Now let us jump into the code to write this. Now even before you write this, always try to give some time for understanding the problem. First understand it, then finalize the approach, and then code it. So never jump into the code directly. You try to write the code, then you try to optimize it or write in a improper way. So better you first finalize that particular, you first understand the question, ask some questions if you have some query, like this is the right or understanding or what exactly the inputs are, such kind things, and then you go on with the solution approach. So first you try to do the paperwork for it, then you can write the code for it. Now as this particular thing requires some loops, actually we are going to iterate it over there because this is an array. So we are going to make use of the for loop over here, and in that for loop we will, as this particular has to be reversed, so what we have to do, the approach is like we will be taking the last element and assigning it to the first element, and then each of this particular iteration we will be replacing the end element with the first elements, and then the second element, third element, and the fourth element, like similar way throughout the array. So in this way the complete array will be replaced with the reverse order. Now let's write the code. Now in this I'm going to require and start, because I'm going to start with some number, and then I'm going to, let's say, use the end. So at the end is like I want those particular length. Now as this particular my array would definitely have some length, so we'll take the length and then minus it by 1. Now this is where the start and the end. So the start is the 0th element, and then the last element I have taken up. Okay, so this is what the endpoint and the iterator. Then we have to make sure that the start should not go beyond the end. So in that case, if it is going beyond that, then there might be a array index out of bound exception. So make sure it doesn't go outside it. Then what we have to do is that we have to iterate. We have from start till end we have to move on, and from end till end to the first we have to move on. So the start will be incremented and the end will be decremented over there. So I put a comma over here. So like this way, if we do this. Now the point here is that after writing this particular logic, now we have to first take that particular my array. So here I have to take the first element over here. So is this, I will take this as an consider this, I will be taking as an temporary of this. I will store it in the temporary. So here the array I will take it, I will take the start of that particular element first, and I will store it in the temporary array variable. Now here Again, I'm going to make use of the array, and then I'm going to take the start value. Now here I have to replace it with the end element. So here what I will do, I will take the end element. So then the end element is what? The last element over here, right? So that is what the element is. Now here I'm going to add end over here. Now once you assign the last element to the first element over here, in the case of the zeroth element, now what you can do, you can assign the end element now with the first element what we have taken up as a temporary. Now in this way, what will happen, the first element will be, replaced with this, and then it will be the end element will be replaced in this, right. So here, so in this case it will go from take from the end, it will assign into the start. Similar way it is going, it will minus it in the next for loop, and then it will ultimately print that. So here, if you see, let me try to run this particular program now. Let me call this method. So here this particular logic I have to move it over here. Now this particular array or whatever you see, I'm going to take it over here and replace it over here. So here we had written the logic. Now everything whatever we have done is it will be written over here. Now let's call that method over here and pass this my array over here. Now instead of this array, let me say array directly over here. This is a proper name. So here when I give it to it, it is going to take the input and then it is going to print that formed array. So here actually I'm going to print the array now. Or else let me print this here like this way only. Let me run this first. Now if you take a look at this, the original array was 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now the formed array, if you see, the one which is in the reverse order. Now this will be always, doing similar applicable for no matter how many of them. So let's say I try to modify this as 0, then 11, 45, 90, 100. Now let me try to run this again. No matter how long it is going to do that particular logic applicable for each of them. So it will be an efficient solution. It is CPU optimized and the memory optimized, and this way you are not using any other extra overhead. You're just making use of the for loop, and just you're making use of the array with their indexes. So you're playing with that and trying to achieve this. So if this video was helpful to you, please subscribe and share it with the needy people. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching.